everybody. Diana Lidstone here, the Entrepreneur's GPS, and welcome to another edition of Guest Expert Talks, where I interview a number of amazing experts that I have met in my journey to be an entrepreneur. And each one of them has something very different and very useful to share with you as an entrepreneur. So today we have the wonderful Suzanne Tate, although most of us know her by Sue. And she's going to talk a little bit about nutrition for women, female entrepreneurs. And Sue has a very, very, very interesting sort of background story. She took a real shift in her business around the age of 40 after being a photojournalist. Then she joined Arbonne International, but then again took a bit more of a shift and went back to school to become a certified nutrition practitioner through the Institute of Holistic Nutrition. Did I get that right, Sue?
You got it right.
Okay. Now she also runs a local farmers market in Stittsville, Ontario, out of the barn, or at the barn. And I'm guessing, are you in the she shed today?
I'm not in the she shed. I was worried that if we got a storm, you guys would not be able to hear me with the rain.
Yeah. So she has an office there, and if you follow her on Facebook or social media, she has these amazing pictures of her she shed where she offers her clients her nutritional assessments. So one of the things that I know that Sue has talked a lot about is entrepreneurs are really freaking busy people. Just like, I said to Sue when I got on this call here, my day was like this, just running. And so a lot of entrepreneurs do not have time in their schedules or haven't made time in their schedules to eat well. And so I know that you often talk about some hacks that they can use to, be looking their best, feeling their best, so that they can really, truly represent their company to the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've known being an entrepreneur myself is I'm definitely the first one to give up my health for more time and money. And so I think any entrepreneur can relate to that we will take that big rock of our health, our exercise, and we don't schedule that into our day because we get to the ground rocking and we want to get on our emails and work on our funnels and service our clients. And unfortunately, the thing that started to really kind of jump out to me was that I'm seeing more and more entrepreneurs needing to then trade back their time and money for their health. And if there's one thing that entrepreneurs cannot risk losing is their health, because we are our businesses. And so everything we do is presenting ourselves in front of the client to and looking good on the videos and the pictures and the marketing. So it coincides. But the thing that I realize with entrepreneurs is they are not willing to give up their day. They're so rigid and they're so moved by what they're doing. They're passionate about their businesses that taking time out sometimes is a real hard thing for them at first. And so it's figuring out the hacks that are going to get them to actually add in some things that are going to help their nutrition and their health while they're doing their daily routines with their businesses.
So what are some of the things that entrepreneurs do that maybe they shouldn't be doing?
Well, I like to call it the window diet.
Oh, the window diet. Okay.
The window diet, right? We drive up and we get our food through the window.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've come to see, entrepreneurs are one group, but with anyone these days is just that we are eating stressed. We are always eating on the go. And if there's one thing that our body really needs, you've got two systems. You got your parasympathetic system and your sympathetic nervous system And when you're in fight or flight, you're always in the sympathetic. So if you think of an entrepreneur, the adrenaline is going and going and going. Well, when you're in the fight or flight, your body doesn't think that there's a tiger or whatever. It just knows you're stressed, and all of the digestion doesn't really want to happen. So the last time I try to explain to someone running a marathon, did you feel like eating a burger? They're like, no. Yeah, no, because you're using your sympathetic nervous system. So we want to get it over to the parasympathetic, which is all your rest, your digest, and there's a few things that we can do for that. In an adrenaline entrepreneurial lifestyle, is just to pull down our stress level and pull down our fight or flight kind of feeling, and that can be by chewing. If there's one thing I tell people, I just posted a video on my Facebook. Hilarious. My friend owns an alpaca farm, and they chew and chew and chew. And I said, okay, this is perfect. I'm going to teach my clients that going to remind them they got to chew. Just chewing allows your body to have less stress trying to digest. So you're going to really pulverize, and we start our digestion in our mouth. But the window diet is a form of, eating on the go and very stressful. And so maybe just, breathing before they eat. These are all ideas that seem so rudimentary and kind of really ridiculous. But at the end of the day, I've sent clients away with these two things, as well as drinking more water. They come back, they've lost 4 pounds, and they're like, my gas is gone.
Wow.
So, yeah, and there's nothing worse than when you're on the road and you're at a convention and you're, traveling, and you've got nice bloated bellies and trying to pull up the Spanx at the end of the night for the convention, and you're like, oh man, I just want to go back to my hotel room.
Yeah, and you're pulling on your Spanx, and you're getting this beautiful dress, and you're worried that you're going to go down and part a Blue Street. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're like, why did I room with someone? I should have roomed alone.
Oh, dear, dear. So, yeah, I love this whole idea of the window diet. So, when you're saying chewing, like my husband eats dinner and he's done like 5 minutes at least before me.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's an example of somebody, So, are you supposed to count your chews?
I think the biggest thing is just realizing, it's being aware. That's the biggest thing that I teach clients, is to just become really aware of their body. Our body has a language, and the language is almost like foreign to us these days, because we're so, especially as entrepreneurs and as women, I think our minds are in like 50 different places. When we're eating, we're actually not thinking of eating. We're like, okay, load of laundry, got to get my client emails out. Like our minds are not very present. And so chewing, if you ever just take a moment to the next time you have a dinner, is just notice how much food you're swallowing that's actually not even consumed yet. It hasn't even been chewed. So I don't think it's like, chewing like the alpacas you see on my Facebook, like 1, 2, 3. Well, they kind of go like this. They, you don't want to chew like that. But you just want to make sure that you're actually acknowledging the food. You're realizing that this is fuel for your body. This is actually not. This is fuel. This has got nutrients. The more you chew, you start digesting in your mouth. It helps digesting, like the digestion process in your stomach, and it also is going to reduce a little bit of the gas that possibly is popping up, because your stomach is then trying to digest these big pieces of food. So it's a very simple process, but I think it's also going to allow us to sit down at the table and just relax a bit. We are thinking of our next thing that we have to get to when we're chewing too fast and we're sitting at the table. And I think we've destroyed the whole concept of honoring the time to really fuel our body and to eat and to, be grateful for the food that's on the table.
Yeah, I think certainly. I remember back when my children were really young, and we would strive to have dinner every night around the table, the family table, and everybody be there. And I remember my kids saying, "Mom, we're really kind of strange, our family." And I went, "Well, what do you mean?" And they would say, "Well, because nobody does this." So, I mean, that was, I want to say 20 years ago. So I can imagine that today family dinners are rare in in many families.
I think in many families, and that's the thing, is not becoming stressed about trying to have a meal with all of the people. Trying to eat together would be fantastic, at least one meal a day. But even if you are on the go, if you're doing a window diet, you choose certain restaurants to have the window diet from that are going to be cleaner, that are going to be a little bit more conducive to giving you the nutrients for the day. But pull your car over, go sit by the water, enjoy the wind, enjoy the surroundings, like just really pulling down your system and just taking a moment for self-care can be really a great piece, especially for entrepreneurs. We're so big on vision building and forecasting, and these are moments where you could take your journal, you could go have your lunch, you could have a little bit of really nice mineralized water and just really enjoy the surroundings. And it refuels you. It gets you ready for maybe a better session with a client later that afternoon, or you come up with your brilliant idea for 2020. I love the fact that next year is 2020. Like, that's perfect vision. Vision 2020. That's so clear in my business right now.
Well, it's interesting that you say, take time. So I was listening to a podcast last evening, and this business coach has a multiple six-figure business, and she's got 3 kids under the age of, I'm going to say 10. And she probably works no more than 25 hours a week on her business or in her business. And she was saying how she realized that she needed buffer time between clients and things. And it really made me realize that, I work from a schedule. People schedule times in. And that next week, I'm going to start it next week. As soon as somebody schedules time in, I'm going to plug in a buffer time so that I just have this, come down, get a glass of water, walk around the house, whatever it happens to be. So that I'm really present for my clients. And I think,
Yeah, I like that. And I think that to speak further to what you're talking about is, I think the unique factor about an entrepreneur is we don't just shut off. We don't turn off our brains. So we are constantly going. So we're constantly in this space of creating and thinking and what's the next big thing. And we are our own kind of motivational speakers inside our head. So I think having a moment clearly planned out, whether it's hitting the gym and you have no time to think because you've got someone telling you, go hit this and go do that, and the music's so loud and you're like on the treadmill, it just allows you to just think something else completely different. I know TV is not like the best habit of mine. I do have a little bit of a TV addiction, but I think it results from the fact that my brain never turns off as an entrepreneur. So for me, when I'm actually watching a movie or a TV show, I'm completely zoned out. I'm not thinking. So that's why sometimes I even find with meditation with my clients who are entrepreneurs, they have a really hard time with meditation because they're like, Sue, it's just not quiet in there. It's just not working.
No. But it is a muscle. Excuse me. Excuse me. It is a muscle that they have to,
yes,
or that we have to strengthen. It doesn't come easily the first time, the first 10 times, or maybe not even the first 100 times, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But even just the process of, being proactive about it, again, like everything about, the nutrition for entrepreneurs is about turning stuff into being proactive and less reactive. So a lot of times we will leave our health until we have to react. And I think it's really important, even as an entrepreneurs, we are constantly being proactive in our business. We are teaching that. We are coaches about that. Yet when it comes down to our personal self and our bodies, we're so reactive. And we wait until the body is yelling at us, literally yelling at us, or erupting with a skin condition saying, I need help. So it's kind of nice when you can take a proactive approach to it I guess the hard part for entrepreneurs is they're very big on seeing results. And sometimes living a healthy lifestyle, your liver doesn't say to you, hey, thank you. Your skin says thank you. People will notice you. They'll say, hey, you're glowing. You look great. What have you been doing? But your liver is the one that we want to say, just keep on, giving the love to without really getting much feedback from, because the feedback will come. It's just when we're older and it'll be a lot happier.
Yeah, yeah. So, getting back to, what are some of the issues that you see entrepreneurs that come to you? What issues are they trying to fix, for instance?
I think the issues are that they're on the road. So to give you an example, a real estate agent who I would work with, they have a real issue. The concept of them going to the washroom at a client's home or at a show home is extremely hard for them. A lot of them don't want to use the facilities. And one of the biggest things that I'm seeing people from entrepreneurs right to normal clientele is we are just not eliminating. People have stopped eliminating and our body is made to eliminate. And it's inconvenient. It's an inconvenience to drink a ton of water and then have to be going to the washroom all day long when we're driving around or we're in these locations that we don't necessarily want to use the facilities. I've worked with men who are on construction sites, and it's a phobia to go into those porta potties. They don't want to go in there. Some people are dealing with IBS from the stress, and so inciting them to want to go to the bathroom more, it's a big one. This is a really big issue for people. The hard part and where you have to dance around is that you've got to be eliminating, because this is how we remove our toxins and we start hydrating and we start to really get our body flowing. So it's such an important piece of the puzzle. It's kind of usually where I start, but it's a real mindset shift as well that we have to work through. So it's not just nutrition, it's, there's a lot of other things going on. So yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
I think another one would be, what to eat, or a lot of entrepreneurs love to start their day with coffee. They get their coffee, they hit the email screen, they get going, and before they know it, it's 1:00. They haven't eaten anything, and they're still in their PJs. So it's working around that, like that. If that's what fuels you and that's how you want to do your business, like that's another coach you can deal with to work on. But for me, I would love to see them getting in a supplement, like get them in a protein shake where they're at least getting the nutrients in to fuel their brain so that they have a better focus. There's a lot of studies out there that when you are fueling your brain the right way, sitting in front of a client is going to become more crisp. It's going to become more on point. You're going to have way better ability to focus, and it's going to improve the end game for your business. It really is.
So typically, would you say a lot of entrepreneurs come to you and they're, addicted to coffee, or is it the coffee they're addicted to, or just the fact of drinking?
I think they're addicted to the routine, quite honestly. Like today, I'm a coffeeaholic. I love coffee. Let me give you an example. For 20 years, I worked in newspaper photography, and my entire day worked around coffee. I am not joking. I probably had about 10 cups of coffee a day for about 20 years. My adrenals now are shot. They are just max. They're tapped out. And so not only was I based in an adrenaline-based business, I was also feeding my adrenaline system with coffee. So now, like, little hacks like this is a dandy blend. It tastes, if you're a coffee snob, you got to get used to it. It tastes like instant coffee, but it's made entirely of dandelion, and it's from a natural health food store, and it's like my instant coffee in the afternoon. It's the heat, it's the conversations. Coffee for me is about conversations. So if I have it, I get that kind of feel, emotion, and I can kind of work around my, reducing my intake of coffee. I think the other thing that entrepreneurs are dealing with is that they just are so excited to be in their business. They're so empowered by being independent, not having a boss, their commute is up the stairs or down the stairs or to the she shed like me. And I think they're just excited to get going and to see what's going to happen again today. And part of that is, like, again, the social aspect, the coffee, like, it's the morning, let's get going.
Yeah, yeah. And what I know, from our conversations previously, that drinking water is, a huge thing. But I can see now how it's might be tied to this, going to the bathroom. You drink water, as Archie Bunker used to say, you only rent it. So, and my husband, if he's on the road, he goes, "No, I don't want to drink it because I have to stop and go to the bathroom."
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
how much water, should we be drinking, I guess?
Well, I think the biggest thing is usually what I get next question is, but I drink a lot of herbal tea, or I drink a lot of, Crystal Lights, or like these little energy drinks, and they add it to water. But your body actually needs just nice filtered and remineralized with like a nice mineral drop water. It needs that, you've got your 3 cups of water, which would be pretty typical. The problem is that they drink a cup of coffee, which means for every cup of coffee, you've reduced by 2 cups of water, because it's very, yeah, it's very dehydrating. So then they drink, like, so they have 2 cups of coffee, which is depleted 4 cups of water. So then they say, but I drink 4 cups of water. I'm like, you're just even. You're now just even Steven. So we need to really get them into the habit of wanting to drink water. Not a lot of people want to. They don't like the city water. It's, if you're in Montreal or you're in Toronto, it tastes like chlorine. If you're on well water, some people don't like that. There's all these different, like, reasons why they don't like their water. And it's trying to work that hack around that. And so what I typically do is, do you have a really nice water bottle with your logo of your business, something that you're proud to have, and then you want to drink it, so that you're kind of like, you're getting your arm workout, you're getting your advertising, you're getting your water, like, or just go get a really nice water bottle that's super expensive, and you're going to make yourself use it because you're like, I didn't pay $50-$60 for this to let it sit there. So it's, again, I think it's kind of working out a hack for that person, and each person is individual. When I sit down with them, I'm always asking, what motivates you? So just like a business owner would say, if, like, how do you like to be communicated with? If you told me email, I wouldn't turn around and then start Facebook messaging you, right? So it's the same way with a client. When I sit down with them, I'm like, okay, what works for you? And when you go silent and you don't want to do it, do I have permission to, get in touch with you this way? And then that's how we kind of work.
Cool. And so you do, so just kind of walk me through, if somebody came to you and said, I'm really tired, I can't seem to focus in my business, I don't know, what would somebody say? I mean, I just use that as an example, but.
Yeah, so usually, typically, when my clientele is coming to me, they're dealing with weight gain for no reason. Like, they're looking at a donut and it's like, they're going up, and they're like, I just looked at it. Like, seriously, I just smelt it. So I'm starting to notice a trend of about, age 40 and late 30s, all the way to like probably 50s, 60s. And they're having a difficulty of how to keep the weight from growing, and feeling very good in their skin, so that they feel good in their business. I think that's really important for women. And the other thing is that they're challenged because every person coming to the table has tried every single diet in book. Like, they're part of the club of, I've been there, done that, bought a t-shirt. And so everything kind of turns out like, I've already done this, I've already done that. And so my approach is to be a lot more individualized. Everybody's constitution is different, and not one thing is going to work for everyone. So I do assessments. One of the assessments I have is it's called a NutriBody assessment. I know it's probably small on the screen. It actually allows me to get deep. It's a virtual assessment, so it's really nice. I can do it online. I have a few clients that I've done this for in Australia. And it allows me to get deeper into maybe possible deficiencies of nutrients. So I think the biggest thing that we have to remember is that, we all know vitamin C is good. And we all know that, vitamin D is good and all of these are good for us. But then what do they do deeper in the body? And what is their purpose? That's where I kind of come in and where I really shine, because we might discover you have low stomach acid, which is why none of your nutrients are really working for you, because you're not even digesting. So we need to start there. So we really like to get to the root cause, and then based on what your schedule is and what your day is like, I take that into account, because I need to address and I need to acknowledge that you shift work, or your clients are Australia, so you're up more at this time of day, and we've got to factor all that in, because it's not like a puzzle where each piece fits like for the same person. We have to make it really individualized.
Yeah, so it's sort of a customized nutritional plan, would you say?
Yeah. So the one plan that I really love to work with is the 30 Days to Healthy Living. It is affiliated through the company Arbonne. I've been with them for 8 years. The reason why I like that program is that when I went back to school, we talked a lot about different programs and different, diets, and we studied a lot of the old ones like Atkins, Beachbody, all of these old ones. And the ones that we kept coming back to as, professionals learning the industry was, there's certain triggers, and an elimination diet is where we can really get you to understand the language of your body. So with this program, it's 30 days long, and it's an email-based program that goes out to you in an email every day. It's one-on-one coaching throughout the week. You're put into a little bit of I like to call it the water cooler Facebook group, where we throw up like articles and recipes, and it's a community for you to keep accountable to. And instead of walking into a store and me referring you to go and find, the best vegan protein and, omega-3 and all of this fiber, it's done for you. It comes as a package. So you're not getting the stressed out situation where you're sitting in front of a wall of supplements and going, I don't know what to get, and I don't know what works with me. And so even at that point too, we make sure that I assess whether, if whey is better for you or vegan based on what because some people have done a lot of programs and they know that they don't digest pea protein, or they know they digest better whey protein. So we work together, and it comes all with a package. And then what I've done is, for someone who does do that program, I throw in a NutriBody assessment. And so that's a virtual link, and it's quite long. There's, 60 questions with, different answers, and it takes time. It's all based on you understanding symptoms in your body. The biggest feedback I get from this questionnaire is, I can't believe you asked me that question. I have talked to people about that forever, and no one has ever acknowledged it.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so I'll just go, for example, when I talked about stomach acid, you would mark a 3, a 2, or a 1 for some of these symptoms beside them. So the first one is indigestion or soreness 2 to 3 hours after meals. And someone would put a 1, 2, or 3 based on whether it's a lot. Abdominal bloating, distension, full, lodgy feeling after eating a heavy meal, loss of former taste or cravings for meat, excessive gas, belching, burping after meals. These are all symptoms that, for me as a holistic nutritionist, not just singularly on that question, but then when I start to see it with other things and I start to see what comes up as deficient, usually the top 5, I can start assessing down to what is maybe the root issue going on. And until you get to the root issue, no matter what you do, no matter how you eat, no matter what kind of crazy program you put yourself on, it's not going to make a difference. We got to get to the root.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you have a lot of tools sort of in your nutrition toolkit.
I do. Yeah, I also do live blood cell analysis. I got trained in that a year ago, and that has been eye-opening for me. I've traveled up to Brockville actually a few times. I do a couple of sessions up there where we do them back to back, and we just do like a day. And the people that get into these sessions, you can see the difference it makes, especially for entrepreneurs. Because when entrepreneurs see their blood cells on the screen and they see the way they're forming or not forming, and you start talking them and walking them through like possibly why this we're seeing what we're seeing, they start to connect the dots themselves. Entrepreneurs are very visual.
Yes.
So it's a very good way for them to really get motivated to then stick to something to change that and to plan for like a healthier, 20 years in their business, and not have this thing creeping up on them where it's sad. I've done so many talks on this where all I have to do is every time I go to do the talk, I update my little screen grabs. I just put in business closing. And if on Facebook, you'll find like post after post after post of people who have worked their whole lives to have their businesses thrive. And then they have to shut down due to health, due to health, due to health.
Wow.
And, as much as entrepreneur adrenaline and entrepreneur inspiration is great, the body only knows stress. It doesn't get good stress, bad stress. It just knows, tiger's coming.
Yeah. My sister, who is a veterinarian and has had her own business for 30 odd years, it was recently diagnosed with shingles. And, she had to take a week off. Now, she was lucky that they caught it, fairly early, because it could have been like 2 or 3 weeks. But again, there's another, I'll call it a condition, that's really stimulated by stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's the thing that's really hard for us. It's like planning for, we never want to plan around something negative, but we've got to think it out. It's kind of like when, you're told you got to do your will, you got to do your insurance, but you're like, I don't want to think that, la, 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 it's negative, but it's like this, because entrepreneurs are so tapped in and tuned into only thinking positively and vision casting. And so, but the reality is that there's one of us as entrepreneurs. And unless you've diversified your business into having staff and managing them, we are it. And if we're not working, our business is not working. So how do we keep ourselves going and really thriving and being proactive about it? Now, that being said, there's been incredible athletes and marathoners who have, things have just, life goes and they get sick. So it's not that it's our fault. It's just that being active and proactive in the business of being healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So let's say that some of our listeners or watchers wanted to get hold of you. What's the best way to connect with you, Sue?
So this is where I give you a huge plug, because I've worked with Diana and I still don't have my poop together on that. So I know I'm going to get a nice little email. Where's the link? I'm searchable on Facebook. It's Suzanne Tate or Sue Bird or At the Barn. There's lots of ways to get me. I do have a website, www.atthebarn.ca. And the best way to get in communication with me is, I'm going to be honest, is actually on Facebook Messenger, just because I am always on Facebook. I have lots of global groups and teams that I work with on Facebook. So at the times of day, it's most accessible for me is when I'm on Facebook. It's the best way. I think I haven't received a phone call in maybe about 5 years. I even think my message on my phone says, probably won't get to this. You might want to just email me. So email is great. My email is Suzanne and then at thebarn.ca.
Yeah. But I do know that you personally, the best way I have found to reach you is on Facebook Messenger. So there we are.
It is. Yeah. It is. It's just, I know, I'm one of these book of faces people. I guess I'm an ancient android now, because apparently Facebook is not the way that people are going anymore, but I'm still finding it very effective for my business and communicating with friends and family. And it's instant, right?
Yeah.
Free calls internationally. I can actually do FaceTimes on there. So it's been very effective for my business and very economical.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been fun having you, very informative. So, again, for those viewers who are watching, look for Suzanne Tate, and I'll put the link below in the comments for the YouTube video. And we look forward to connecting with you again. Thanks so much, Suzanne.
That's awesome.
Take care.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the beautiful day.
Yeah.
Drink your water.
Oh.